know this is convoluted, and I apologize, and I thank you for sticking with us. But, that's what these guys do. They make it so convoluted that you really need to stop and draw a diagram to figure out how they're just sticking it to the man. Well, in Ellisville, we know that they're trying to impeach Adam Paul, the mayor of Ellisville. We know that March 27th is the day that they're going to try and impeach the mayor of Ellisville. We know that in the paper today, Stephen Deary's got a story about City Attorney Paul Martin, who was paid some $370,000 from the city of Ellisville over the last 5 years. We know that Paul Martin and the city attorney for Ellisville has hired an outside prosecutor, Keith Cheung, in which today's paper, he says he's an excellent prosecutor. However, 2 years ago, he was reprimanded and pled guilty to a disciplinary action filed because he passed a note to a judge in a different courtroom on a completely different case in which he had nothing to do with. The note said, "Judge, you need to convict this guy. I'll explain later." Keith Cheung is now the prosecutor, who's supposedly an excellent prosecutor, yet he gets all these trials deemed a mistrial because he's passing notes to judges in which he has nothing to do with. Now, here's the next interesting thing. Okay, so this Keith Cheung, this excellent prosecutor who was since reprimanded, pled guilty, by the way. It wasn't like he denied the allegations. He admitted that he wrote the note. He's a prosecutor in Town and Country, St. Anne, Frontenac, and he's a judge in Ladue. I guess the people in Ladue don't mind that he was reprimanded and did this because he is still a judge in Ladue. If you go to Ladue City Hall or Ladue's website, it still lists him as the city judge. So this guy, Keith Cheung, is still a judge in Ladue. However, he's been hired as the outside prosecutor to try the case against Ellisville Mayor Adam Paul, okay? So listen to this, okay? I know it gets confusing, and I know you need like a flow chart for this, but this is how good these guys are. So this Keith Cheung is the prosecutor hired by the Ellisville and this Paul Martin. He's going to prosecute the case. Well, you need somebody, and this Keith Cheung is, in his normal job, a prosecutor in Town and Country, St. Anne, Frontenac, and also a judge in Ladue. Remember that. He's a judge in Ladue, but hired by Ellisville to be the outside prosecutor to prosecute the impeached mayor of Ellisville. Okay? In this trial, for lack of a better word, in Ellisville, you're going to need a judge. So they went out and they hired a judge to sit in judgment of this case March 27th in Ellisville. Who is the judge they've hired to sit in judgment, okay, as Keith Cheung prosecutes the case that Paul Martin is bringing in for the Ellisville City Council? The man who's going to sit in judgment, his name is John Maupin, M-A-U-P-I-N, Maupin, John Maupin. Now, who is John Maupin? Good question. John Maupin is going to be the judge in this case. John Maupin's day job, if you go to the Ladue City Hall website, he is the city attorney for Ladue. So you have the prosecuting, the outside prosecutor hired by the city of Ellisville. His day job is a judge, city judge of Ladue. The judge in the Ellisville mayor's case is the city attorney of Ellisville. So the judge in Ladue is the prosecutor in Ellisville, and the prosecutor in Ladue is the judge in Ellisville. So all they've done is they've switched seats for the Ellisville impeachment of Adam Paul. I mean, I know you can't make this up. How can the residents of Ellisville stand, even if you wanted the TIF now, how can you sit there and allow the Ellisville City Council to bring charges against the mayor in which you hire an incompetent prosecutor who you have to call into his ethics and his morals because of this one case? They then hire a judge who's, so the prosecutor hires, I mean, I can't even explain it. It's so convoluted. But the best way to explain it is that Ladue has a judge and a city attorney. The judge in Ladue, Keith Cheung, is now going to be the hired prosecutor to impeach the mayor of Ellisville. The city attorney in Ladue is now going to sit in judgment of his judge in Ladue as he prosecutes the case in Ellisville. I got a question. Are there any other lawyers in St. Louis who are busy? I mean, are there no other lawyers in town? That is, I mean, talk about a joke. I mean, talk about Mayberry RFD. I mean, this makes Mayberry look like a metropolis. How the people in Ellisville are being totally and completely railroaded by a city council that has long since forgotten why they were elected. And again, remember, they have to impeach this guy before March 27th, before the new council gets voted in April 2nd, because the belief is that the city council being voted in will not impeach Mayor Adam Paul. I mean, it's unbelievable. Keith Cheung, who was brought up on charges, pled guilty to these charges. I don't know what happened to his Supreme Court ruling, but in these documents that were unsealed, admitted in a pleading filed in his disciplinary case. He admitted to it, that he wrote this note, "Judge, you need to convict this guy. I'll explain later, Keith Cheung." But according to Paul Martin, the mayor, the city attorney of Ellisville, who's been paid $370,000 over the last 5 years, is an excellent prosecutor. I'm not so sure he's an excellent prosecutor. I think you need to actually question his prosecutorial skills if he's passing notes to judges in trials in which he's not even involved in.
But he's also sits on the bench himself.
He sees
so what is he willing to do? What are his morals if he's willing to write this note to a judge? What influences his decision making?
He is a judge.
Right.
And why does Ladue keep this guy as a judge since he's now caught passing notes to judges? You got to question
how easy is it to influence his decision making? A handwritten note? I'll tell you later. He's guilty. He's innocent. I'll tell you later.
It's unbelievable.
We don't need facts.
It is unbelievable.
We don't need evidence.
First of all, it's unbelievable that this hasn't been brought to light until now. Right? I mean, why does it take me doing a Google search on a Post-Dispatch article from 2 years ago to uncover this? I mean, it's criminal that this city attorney, Paul Martin, hires this guy who then they turn around and hire that. Oh, wow, it's dirty. It's dirty. But you know what? That's what happens when they think no one's watching. 3-1. Well, we're trying to come back and wrap things up. Ladies and gentlemen, on a serious note, you know someone suffering from alcohol or drug dependency? How about heroin? We know that heroin is now in the high schools. It's scary. But you need to watch the signs. And if you think for one instant